On today's San Francisco 49ers report, according to Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, the Washington Commanders could be open to taking calls on a Chase Young trade. And somehow, Yannick Ngakoue is still available, which surprises me because this is a guy who's been a premium edge rusher in a sport that prioritizes getting after the opposing quarterback and has had at least 8 sacks every year that he's been in the NFL, and he's still somewhat young at 28 years old. Before we take a look at all of these rumors across the National Football League and these Niners rumors as well, let's hear from you down in the comment section. This is an organization and a team in San Francisco who has had so many legendary players at all types of positions. Joe Montana at quarterback, for instance. Jerry Rice at wide receiver. Ronnie Lott at safety. Who is the greatest Niner in franchise history? There are a lot to choose from, so let me know down below. Chase Young trade. Could it come to fruition at some point this offseason? Albert Breer with this report this week that the Commanders are, quote, open to listening to trade offers for Chase Young as he enters a critical year 4. The last year on his rookie contract because Washington did not exercise his 5th-year option. And that's why we're talking about this here on today's show. The Commanders clearly were not comfortable with giving that guaranteed money to Chase Young in year 5 as he goes into year 4. And they've already committed money to other defensive linemen on the team, in Daron Payne, defensive tackle, and Jonathan Allen, who plays next to Daron Payne. Montez Sweat is another player who they might think about trading as well. I don't think this comes down to ability. I think Chase Young has plenty of ability. We saw it in his rookie season in 2020 in 15 games played when he followed up what was a masterful final season at Ohio State with 8 sacks and 44 tackles. But then in 2021, he tore his ACL, and even in those 9 games played to start that year, he did get off to a slow start. Only 2 sacks, 26 tackles, and 2 forced fumbles. Then he came back last year. Actually, the first game that he played was when the Commanders got crushed by San Francisco at Levi's Stadium late in the season, and he ended up only playing 3 games. His recovery from that ACL injury did take a while. No sacks on the board. But this is what Chase Young is capable of doing, and why it's also fun to talk about him on this team is because he's former teammates with Nick Bosa at Ohio State. They only overlap for 1 year, and it's really unfortunate because we got robbed as football fans of seeing one of the best edge rushing combinations in the history of college football because Nick Bosa's season was cut short because of that oblique injury. Still didn't keep the Niners from drafting him high in 2019. 3 games played for Bosa, 4 sacks. But look at what Chase Young did that year. 12 games, 32 solo tackles, 7 forced fumbles, 21 tackles for loss, and 16.5 sacks. If, depending on the asking price, the Niners are able to reunite Chase Young and Nick Bosa, it answers a lot of the questions and the concerns that I've had throughout this offseason. I think that Drake Jackson can be a good player, but I'm a little bit concerned with him not getting in the gym all that much and some people questioning his work ethic as a rookie. He's still young. He's only 22 years old. And while Drake Jackson could be a good player in this league, he doesn't have the physical upside of a Chase Young. Now, of course, the injury concern, the ACL, the long recovery, but word out of Washington and that Commanders organization is that throughout this offseason, he has looked great. And Albert Breer even said, look, the likelihood that the Commanders trade him is small, but if they get blown away by an offer, could they do it? And the 49ers always prioritize defensive linemen and edge rushers. They've always done that as an organization, going all the way back to the Bill Walsh days. Could they do it once again? Something to think about and something to monitor here. That's the status of Chase Young. What would you give up for Chase Young? I want you to play the role of general manager and put together your best trade packages. And as you venture down into that comment section, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, because whenever the Niners make a big move, we're going to discuss it. Whenever there's a juicy rumor out there like this one, we're going to talk about it. Lock us in. Subscribe to the channel. Today's show is presented by Bird Dogs. These shorts are incredible. I've been rocking them now that the weather here in Dallas is heating up with summer coming up around the corner. And if you want to join the Comfort Kingdom with me, birddogs.com, promo code chat. Upon making your first purchase, you get a free Yeti-style tumbler to keep your drinks cold or your coffee hot with summer here. As someone who loves looking good and feeling confident, I'm excited to share my personal experience with our new sponsor, Bird Dogs. These shorts and pants are great. They've changed the game for me. The fit is unparalleled. I've never felt better or more comfortable in any other clothing item. Not only do they make me look great, but they're so comfortable that I can wear them all day long without feeling restricted. Plus, the stretchy fabric hugs my legs in all the right places. But what really sets Bird Dogs apart, it's the versatility. I wear them to the office, on dates, even on the golf course, and every time I feel like I'm dressed up for the occasion. It's such a relief to not have to worry about having to change my outfit midday. So if you're ready to elevate your wardrobe with Bird Dogs, I highly recommend giving them a try. And if you order now using the link in the description below, birddogs.com, and enter that promo code chat, you'll even get a free Yeti-style tumbler with your first purchase. Trust me, you won't regret it. Won't regret it, excuse me. Bird Dogs, hop on board right now. Their pants also awesome. Let's round out with this before we start taking your questions. Yannick Ngakoue. He said the other day that he wants to play for a contending team. Yannick Ngakoue, I have a message for you. The 49ers going into 2023 are a contending team. Here's what Ngakoue had to say as he's still out there as a free agent. I definitely want to play for a contender, play for a team, and an organization that wants to win a Super Bowl. That's one of the things on my agenda to be able to help and contribute to that. Hopefully I can get some great interest from a contender. 49ers, if Drake Jackson falls flat on his face, you better call Yannick Ngakoue. This guy can really help your football team reach the promised land and be a great edge rusher on the other side of the line of scrimmage with Nick Bosa. And can you imagine what he can do with Chris Kosaric? Yannick Ngakoue has had at least 8 sacks every year that he's been in the NFL. And you look at his last 4. 9.5 last year. He's also always available. 10 in 2021, 8 in 2020, and then 8 in 2019. His career stats since getting drafted out of Maryland, very, very good. 110 total games. Remember that figure. Because every time Yannick Ngakoue takes the field, he is due for more than one quarterback hit. 135 quarterback hits in those 110 games. 65 tackles for loss. 21 forced fumbles, and those 65 sacks. So basically, 1 in every 2 games, a little bit more than that, right? Or around that area, he is able to have a sack. What do you have to do in today's NFL? You have to pressure the quarterback. You have to sack the quarterback. You can't allow them to pick apart your defense, and that's what Yannick Ngakoue does. Everybody wants to talk about him being bad against the ground game. I don't care. That's why you have Fred Warner and Greenlaw. Stop the passing attack. You can do that with Yannick Ngakoue. If Drake Jackson fails to perform, San Francisco, you better call Yannick. Type YN to bring Ngakoue to the Bay. Please. I've been calling for this. I've been clamoring for it all off season. Make it come to fruition. Let's start to take your questions here. Justin Abalera, what is Trey Lance really worth in a trade? So a couple of teams that I think he could fit with: Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right now quarterback competition between Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask. Atlanta Falcons, Desmond Ridder is their starter. Houston Texans, Davis Mills, you kidding me? So a second or third round pick. I mean, look, he's still really, really young. He just turned 22 years old. He has untapped potential. He just needs playing time. Can't get it with San Francisco right now. So is the team going to be bullish on his ability at 6'4", 225? Look at what he did at North Dakota State. The lone season that he played where he didn't throw a pick, was a really good runner of the football, and a guy with a really good arm and an intriguing athletic profile. I think you can net a second or third round pick. AJ VHS, what game on the Niners schedule for this season are you looking most forward to? The Eagles rematch and the game against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys game is going to be a primetime game. It's going to be great. Every time those two teams meet, they seem to get close to breaking TV rating records, and I think that game is going to be no different. So I'm going to go Cowboys and Eagles. Those are the top 2. And then anytime you play the Seahawks, it's a bloodbath. I think the Rams or Cardinals are going to be bad. So it's a two-horse race to win the NFC West between Seattle and San Francisco. Seattle is much improved this year. Their receiving core, excellent. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. The only thing holding them back, it's Geno Smith. Lore, always watching our show every single week. Be like Lore, subscribe to the show, and have your notifications on, because that's what Lore always does. Do you believe that Brock Purdy will win the starting job in Week 1 against the Steelers? If he's healthy, Brock Purdy will be the team's starting quarterback. That's what I think will happen. AJ VHS, Chase, do you think that we will make a deadline deal for an upgrade at tackle? Maybe. I mean, if that is just catastrophic to your season and you were struggling mightily and you can't pass protect at all and you get exposed by Max Crosby in the preseason and then TJ Watt Week 1 and then against some of these other edge rushers, you're going to have to make a move, because that's one thing that can ruin your season, and you're trying to keep Brock Purdy healthy or your quarterbacks in general healthy. Can't do that with a bad tackle play. Wet Noodle 187, what's good, man? Who do you think will be tight end number 2? Also, who do you like in the NBA Finals? I went Nuggets in the Finals because I think they're a little bit deeper, a little bit more talented. Their offensive synergy has been great, but I'll tell you what, Game 2 is really telling for me and did the series shift. We're recording this on Tuesday, by the way. If there's one team, and I did say this, I was going with Denver, but if there's one team to knock off Denver and alter their offensive rhythm, it's Miami with the zone defense and their coaching strategy and the tactical adjustments. So there you go there. Tight end 2. Cameron Latou, according to George Kittle, registered at 19 miles per hour running. That's second best among the tight ends on this team. Doesn't mean much if you can't catch the football, but that certainly intrigues me. You drafted Braden Willis as well. So 2 rookies might be competing for a roster spot. Then you have Charlie Warner and Ross Dwelly. I think the Niners might go Warner or Dwelly as tight end number 2. I like to see more 2 tight end sets, to be frank. Interact with me on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. If I didn't answer your question during this show, then you can hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. I'll be happy to answer over there.